Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to the Two Pointers podcast, or I guess this time I should say the 2 Point Conversion podcast, second one that we're having. We're back. I lost my train of thought, I think,
You've
with
got your own
doing a
name.
different
Yeah,
a different title. I think I lost my train of thought. I'm Josh.
and I'm Trevor, and we are super excited to be here talking about fantasy football. And I know what you're wondering. If you're here for the first time and you're seeing the title of our show and you're seeing the history of the topics, you're probably very confused right now. So what we're going to do to make that very easy for you is that we do like things other than basketball. Let's just be upfront with that. We do. Though I won't have time to go through all the list of that stuff, but basically fantasy football is something Josh and I have played together and against each other for many years. I think this is our 10th year. This is kind of crazy to say out loud, or at least my 10th year. So, but we have two guys on we've had on. We're very fond of these guys. Super, super great show. Evan and Dan from the Domestic Draft Show. On my right or on my left, whatever side this will be on, whatever this gets posted. I've got Evan from Domestic Draft. How are you, my friend?
Hey, how's it going, guys? It's good to see you. It's been a while. So I'm Evan Bierman. I'm my co-host of the Domestic Draft podcast. Myself and Dan. If you haven't heard of Domestic Draft, it is a sports and craft beer podcast. I live out in Chicago. Dan lives out in San Diego. So we highlight some beers in different areas and talk sports. Have some guests on, things like that too. But I'll kick it over to Dan. He can tell you a little bit more too.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Stick around next week. We'll be posting our episode we're recording with Herb Howard of the Bigs. He covers the Bears for them. So we'll kind of talk to him, see what he's seeing there in training camp. But yeah, if you're looking to stick and stay up to date with like the latest Chicago sports and also are curious about the beer scene in one of the two major craft brewery cities in America, go ahead and subscribe and everything. We're anywhere you find podcasts, search us up on YouTube. We're there as well. Domestic Draft Podcast.
Yeah, Josh. Anytime they come to the Triangle, we've got to give them a little swirl of what the Raleigh areas look like when it comes to beer. Because I feel like Raleigh claims it's this next great hottest thing in beer, and
No.
I don't do it enough to be like, all right, yeah, sure, I get it. But then you got two guys that are in two of the biggest cities in the world, so it's kind of like I feel like they would be able to test that. So next time, and very rarely you're probably in the Triangle. I'm probably going to be in Chicago more likely than you'll be in the Triangle. But either way, we'll have to connect and get some beer figured out in the areas and see who has the crown.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I lobbed it up a little bit earlier, but the Fantasy Football League of Podcasts, whoever coined it between the two of you, I don't care. Great title, the Flop League.
Dan takes credit.
We are very honored to say, I love it. It's great either way. I'm very honored to say that we are the only basketball podcast in it as of last year. I don't have any update on that
Playoff
yet.
team. Here we go.
Playoff team. Yeah, mind you, for like 8 weeks we were in like second. So it was really cool bragging rights. And then all of a sudden Chris Carson decided to fall off the face of the planet. So here we are. A year later, we got the invite back. Thank you. We look forward to doing that. Actually, the draft is tomorrow, so that is part of the reason we're here tonight. So talk us through, for the people that are new here, new to you guys, what the flop is, the inspiration behind it, a little bit about tomorrow, and then they'll see the teams on Twitter moving forward. Maybe some teams that are new if there's some new teams this year.
So there is a couple new teams this year. Some of the bottom teams, I think, just couldn't keep up with the rest of us. You know, you guys made the playoffs, we made the playoffs too. It was a lot of fun. So this is gonna be the second year. It's the Fantasy Football League of Podcasts, the Flop League, and it's free. It's just a bunch of different podcasts do this 14 team league, full PPR. We do it on Yahoo, and it's really just for everyone to go on podcasts and have their little bragging rights. Sometimes we'll have other teams on the show, and we can chop it up with them about their performance from the previous week. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. And some of the new ones we got, it's podcasts from all over. You guys are a basketball podcast. We have other drinking podcasts. We have fantasy football podcasts, just all types of things. And it's just really cool to have everyone converge and have this league. So we're excited about it. The draft, like you said, is tomorrow at 8:15. So we're pumped to see who we end up with. I know Dan hasn't done much fantasy football research. He's been talking about that before the show even started here. So don't let him use that as an excuse.
That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Read the experts' articles 48 hours before a draft. You're fine.
So yeah. I'll lead with this really quick. So I want to point this out. So Josh, last year, I told him it's by far, and this is a testament to you guys and just the thought process behind it, hardest league I've ever been a part of. And I'm in Dynasty. I'm in a keeper with Josh and a lot of our childhood friends where it gets really competitive. I'm in a couple of leagues with people I grew up with outside of that group. I'm in a lot of leagues where I really have to bring it every year. And I historically have not been perfect at fantasy football, but this one by far is the hardest because for those that don't know, 12 team, people are like, yeah, I've played 12 team. That's like, you thin at running back, maybe a couple receivers, whatever. It's like a 40 team gap or a 40 like point difficulty gap between 12 and 14. I fully think like Josh and I were struggling over who to pick as RB like 5, like an hour after the draft started. It was and that ended up being our sore spot was running back. So here we are. It's the coolest concept. Injuries and look, it happens, right? But you're picking
every year.
You're picking 4-string running backs in like the 8th round. You're like, this is hard. Like, I don't care who does this for a living or not. This is difficult. Really so super excited to do it again. I'm looking forward to it. Again, would like to be the only basketball podcast to have bragging rights, but also got to get the group me firing again to get people talking every week. So looking forward to it. So
that's right.
Josh, are we ready? I'm excited. I brought a beer. I know it's the Domestic Draft Podcast. It's nothing crazy. Some New Belgium local one. New Belgium local to North Carolina. I don't know. I hate it. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to say anything about it because I don't like it. So, but I am going to say I love their stuff. I love their tap room. I love everything. This one, I just not
in case they're listening.
Yeah. Right.
I got a phase 3 if anyone's wondering.
Phase 3. Okay.
Right. I have phase 3. If anyone's listening, our buddy actually works for them now over there in Illinois. So check it out. Pete Mike Keezer's his handle online as well. If you want to see what he's got in his Keezer, phase 3. Always pushing out good beer in Illinois.
Evan's like, I have a Four Loko.
Yeah. No, I have a La Tub. It's the beer that I did on our last podcast last week. So
nice.
We'll plug that again. We did a fantasy football like booms, busts, and breakouts show. We got a fantasy football top 10 quarterbacks show. So we've been super into the fantasy football stuff lately too. So we're excited to come on to your guys' show, talk a little bit more about it.
All right, Josh, without further ado, give people who are new here and them, if they need the refresher, really quick, as we told them before we started, the format, some of the questions, types, etc., and then just in general, give us a little bit of a scoreboard update, because I'll have the graphic. It'll go right up as you talk about it. So
okay, so I'll kind of go through the rules again for anybody that may be picking it up this week and wondering about our basketball podcast that we're talking about football on.
Just hammer that point.
This is Trivia Showdown number 5. So the way that the game works is our 2 contestants are going to have 10 questions. 2 of them will be multiple choice. 8 will just be free answer design, so it will be especially hard. Each of those will be worth 1 point unless otherwise specified throughout the competition. In the end, we will have a bonus round or a finale round where there will be 1 question with multiple answers, and both guys here will have 60 seconds to write down as many answers as they can. Within that 60-second time limit for 1 point apiece. And that's how we'll play the game. They're competing against each other, and they're kind of competing against our leaderboard throughout the season. Now that we've had 4 different ones of these already, so we got a 9-person standings. But in first place is Carl Heiser at 19 points. Second place, Nick Levere from Enable with 12. Followed by Alex Cervantes and Evan Birchmore, tied with 11. Ryan Hammer with 9, Tyler James with 8, Caleb Watkins and Darian Thomas with 7, and Grayson Hill with 5. So you just have to beat Grayson.
Beat 5. Yeah. Gotta beat 5. Yeah,
Grayson's a close friend of ours. So
right.
5 points.
Yeah. All right.
Grayson's a close friend of ours. So if you hear me crack a lot of jokes about how poorly Grayson did throughout this, I'm not being mean. I'm just giving him.
Grayson will think otherwise. But yeah. Evan has some extra pressure because he has to try to be the highest scoring Evan in the history of the show. So this will be fun for Evan because he'll start sweating about halfway through when he's halfway to 11 because finales the finales will be fun. You've got an opportunity.
Yeah, I think Grayson had 2 points going into our finale, like when he was competing. So
this is so bad. All right, he's catching strays. All right, without further ado, I'm ready to get this started because I think we've done a really good job. I say that every week. I'm proud of these questions, so I'm really excited.
We're awesome.
We're awesome. This is great. I'm super excited. They'll understand as they go. The whole point, if you're new here, is to enjoy yourself. Not for everyone listening, and for Evan and Dan, to enjoy yourself, learn something, and they're supposed to be very difficult. So. Josh, I'm excited. I'm ready.
In fairness to you guys to expect, like our goal at times is for you guys to get some of these questions right and score points, and then sometimes to be looking at us like we're being ridiculous with some of the questions we're asking you. So it's just going to flip back and forth.
No pressure.
Love a challenge.
Yeah.
So people that may remember, sorry, before we go into this, the first time Trevor and I had people on where we asked them trivia questions, it was Evan and Dan on the
guys.
team. And we were like, we did a really good job coming up with the Chicago Bulls trivia. And then Dan got like every question right. Just all the
Huge
way
Bulls guy.
through.
Yeah.
I asked a question, I think,
my
about
team.
1900s professional basketball teams in Chicago, and he knew all of the answers.
Yeah,
And
something
it
about,
was
something about Guy
amazing.
Rogers in the 50s. I mean, it literally just nothing shocked me at that point. We got to question 10, and I was like, "This is stupid."
So that's why this is for two Chicago area guys. This is not a Chicago Bull trivia show. If anyone's wondering.
To be fair, the alternative ideas were the state of Chicago, anything that involves
Yeah.
that borders inside of Illinois, or beer. So I was kind of like, how about fantasy football, the flop? Here we go. This is good. It'll be
Here
at
we
least a
go.
little random. So,
Okay.
all right, good luck.
But without further ado, we'll go into question number 1. So, like you guys talked about, you did your show recently about the top 10 fantasy quarterbacks and talked about how last season Josh Allen was the number 1 highest scoring fantasy quarterback. So, we're going to flip that around. Who last season in the NFL was the lowest scoring fantasy quarterback in the season of 2021? Which quarterback was the lowest scoring in 2021?
Is this like a minimum of games played or like just
No, just lowest score possible for someone that played.
So
Like at least one
it's
game.
Probably,
Yeah.
Okay. So somebody that came into a game.
I will give like a hint away. The answer, like the points this person scored, is less than 0.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. He came in just
Like they were a negative.
I'm just thrilled that, and I love because we alternate questions. So this is Josh's question to open it up, and I love that we're 45 seconds into the first question, and there's already a question of like, did this guy play a certain amount of games? Like, what do I get here? And unfortunately, I'll just spoil this. This is not one of the multiple choice. So
Oh,
free answer.
all right.
We're filling time while you think.
Think
No real
yeah.
time limit. You got to think. Well, obviously, I'll
Lowest
keep an eye on the time. but no big deal.
Negative, probably one game came
Josh, I
in
think he
injury.
I don't want to give too much away, but I think he played more than a game. But it was, I mean, I'm just going off of memory when we researched this, so don't take that verbatim because I might be wrong. But I don't think he played one game. I think it was
It was more than one.
okay. Thank you for confirming that. At least a little sprinkle of help since this isn't some softball first question. Okay, at least a little bit of sliver of hope for these guys.
You got an answer, Evan? I got like no idea. You got a
talk it
couple?
out. Yeah,
in mind?
no, don't help each other, but talk it out. This is against each other. I like this. Gives us something not to
So-
have to fill.
Yeah. So it's I'm thinking, just trying to think of all the backups that I can think of that might have got snaps last year. And
The only name I have written down is Alex Smith. Did he even play last year on like one leg?
I don't even think he's in the league.
Well, last year, like, was he not in the league last year for Washington?
I don't remember. That's a good question.
I don't think so.
Because
No,
the
I
guy had one leg. Maybe. he
Yeah.
didn't
Wow,
do it
Josh
right.
is going through
Yeah.
the question. I will look that up for the sake of our remembering.
Trevor, I think
yeah.
these guys went rogue. They're now just going to try to beat the quiz together like they did last time.
Say- so
It's question one. This,
should I give my answer?
If not,
if you want
you
to
both
lock it
have
in,
something written down.
Do I write it down?
if you
Yeah.
want to, if you feel like you
Write
wanna
down
lock
what you're going to
something
go with.
in. Some of these you'll get to a point where you probably are like, I don't feel like thinking too much harder about this. This might already be the first one. I don't know. Again, have fun, difficult, and learn something. That's all I
All right.
ask.
All right, Evan, what do you got?
So I got Jordan Love.
Jordan
Okay.
Love. All right, Dan.
Yeah.
Josh Rosen.
So
All right,
the
Josh.
correct answer is Josh Rosen.
Oh, it's
Dan
not.
pulls it out of
Oh
nowhere.
my god!
So
Second name written down right
I
there.
believe you. That's Dan's guy. Dan was a Josh Rosen. guy for a while.
Rosen.
Oh,
through
man.
3 games played with the Atlanta Falcons last season, Josh Rosen recorded minus 1.2 points last season as a fantasy football quarterback. When doing the research, we
awesome.
originally were going to ask for the lowest total scoring fantasy player, but it was a little
Mhm.
more obscure. It was for no points. Any guess? Lowest total player.
Don't think too hard. Just don't think too hard.
Lowest. No idea.
Period. Like, this guy was the worst. No idea.
Yeah,
No, yeah,
I don't
nothing.
It
even
was
know.
Denver Broncos wide receiver Deontay Spencer. 15 games,
Oh.
scored minus 4.3
Jeez.
in non.
Sign him up.
Doubled twice.
If
Sign
it,
him up.
converted to PPR, I think it would be 3.6 minus.
But he was
3.6.
But he was still
But that was
last.
still last.
Yeah, he was. So really cool backstory on this
Brutal.
question. I was very clear with Josh that I don't think Deontay Spencer was that was that nice of a first question because I don't think they were going to get in the right zip code. I also did say that the cool connection with the Josh Allen, the Josh asking the question, and the Josh Rosen was really neat. So I was like, I don't think they're getting this one, but I do at least like the formality.
Oh, I'm really worried.
Here
now
we
that
are.
Dan
I
pulled
can't
Josh
believe you got
Rosen on the
Josh
first
Rosen. I
question.
can't believe you got that.
I'm not going to lie, I'm sweating for a second here because we're 1 for 1, and I thought that you guys were going to be floored after this first question. So,
That's awesome.
again, there should be, Evan, there should be no bad blood here. I am floored he got that right.
So
I was
am
all
but
for
I'm not
bef-
surprised. He's a Josh
Before the
Rosen guy.
Bears drafted Fields, I was like,
God.
hey, get a flyer on Rosen. Why not? He's my
I
guy.
was with you, Dan. I
Rosen
was
and
all
Mariota.
in on the Josh Rosen stock, and I don't know what went wrong.
Yeah.
I still got a couple toes in. I'm not
Was that
giving up.
2017 draft? Was that long ago? Was he the 2017 draft or was he 19?
It
No.
was sooner. It was the
20?
Mayfield Darnold draft.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
it was-
okay. Well, yeah.
It went Mayfield. I mean, Mayfield Darnold, Allen, Rosen, Jackson.
Wow. Mm. Tough.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
ton of quarterbacks that year.
I think my question is a little easier, so let's move on. Question number 2. Which NFL player holds the record for the most fantasy points per game in a single season? One more time. Which NFL player holds the record for most fantasy points per game in a single season? Unfortunately, this is a free answer. Again, we
Is
are
it
warming you up.
active player or
No,
all time?
all time. Sorry,
All
I didn't
time.
clarify. I thought I had all time written down. Which NFL player all time holds the record for most fantasy points per game in a season?
I got mine written down right off the bat.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
We don't need to be here. This
Key
is
part
Dan's
of the
show.
question is
Like,
points per game.
points per game.
Per game.
Per game. Yep, you got it. Yep, per game. I have the player, the year, and the total. Whenever you are ready to lock in, and if
Player,
you're ready
year,
to lock in,
and
give me a
total.
thumbs up. I know.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I don't need a thumbs up.
You
from
got
Evan.
it too, Evan?
Okay.
I got an answer. Do you know
All
the
right.
answer?
Okay.
Well,
I
we
got an answer,
flip-flopped.
too.
Go
you
ahead,
went with
Dan.
yeah. You threw up in first. So Evan, go ahead, or whoever went first last time. Flip it. I don't. At this point, Dan, go next.
Evan, I defer to you. Go for it, Evan.
What?
Playing
all right.
patty cake. Let's go.
I'm going to say Patrick Mahomes 2 years ago.
Okay.
Okay.
Most fantasy points per game in a season. All right.
Oh,
Dan?
okay. I put up CJ2K, Chris Johnson, way back when
Ooh, that's a
he
really
was
good
just
answer.
a beast in Tennessee.
Fun fact: my favorite Madden player of all time.
He's
Unfortunately,
an animal.
Unfortunately,
Both wrong.
Neither of those are correct. The correct answer is Marshall Faulk in 2000. Marshall Faulk had 32.85 fantasy points per game.
Wow.
Yeah. Just an unbelievable greatest show on turf. You would think
Yeah.
that way were like the Torrey Holt passing game, all that, but apparently Marshall Faulk was like, no pun intended for this show, hold my beer. So Marshall Faulk is the correct answer. Josh, we don't need a score update. It's 1-0. We'll do a score update every like third or fourth question for the sake
I'm
of
just like,
the YouTube audience. They can survive.
if I could find a running back that could average 32 points per game, I would just
You'd
be.
be set.
Seriously.
Yeah. That's what
we
you're
have an
looking
idea
for.
for tomorrow. I'm just kidding. All right. Josh, whenever you're ready, question number 3. We can keep
All
rolling.
So here we go. Here's a fun one. We're rolling in multiple choice question number 1. All right.
Thank you.
Love it.
Which of these running backs, since the year 2000, looks like
Shut up.
we
I'm
made a
fixing it.
mistake, wrote the year 200 in the question.
I did them. I fixed it.
Since 2000, has the most targets in a season. Which NFL running back since the year 2000 has the most targets in a season? Is it A, the Carolina Panthers' Christian McCaffrey, B, the San Diego Chargers' LaDainian Tomlinson, C, the Chicago Bears' Matt Forte, or D, the New York Jets' Richie Anderson? And that's A,
Boy, Richie Anderson looks pretty specific. doesn't he?
McCaffrey, B, Tomlinson, C, Forte, and D, Anderson.
Is that even a real person? I've never heard of that guy. There's no way
Okay,
he caught 100
Let me
passes.
let me tell you.
That's a fake name that you're throwing out there. that
No,
caught 100
let me just throw this
passes.
out
You
there.
remember Richie Anderson?
Okay. When we were doing this every week, for those that are new, we come up with questions individually. We try to do 5 and 5 or however many a piece, and then narrow them down to 10 in a finale. Josh came to me with a couple. I think this was one I had come up with, but Josh liked it, etc. And I was like, "Cool. So this is a good question." And I was reading them off, and I go, "We need to get the answer choices, make sure it's correct, whatever." And Josh was like, "Oh yeah, the guy that played for the Jets." And I was like, Excuse me? You know that?
You knew who that guy was? Wow.
I was like, whoa,
I don't know why Jets came to
whoa.
mind. Part of me thinks I remember, and part of me thinks that my brain autocorrected to Robbie Anderson. I don't know which one it is, but
Resident
all
Panthers
right.
fan of the
Yeah.
show. So, all right.
All right,
Do we have?
again? It was most receptions in a season.
most targets in a season
Oh, yeah,
for
sorry.
a running back.
Target.
Most
A.
targets.
McCaffrey, B. Tomlinson, C. Forte, or D. Anderson?
Richie
Go ahead, Dan.
Anderson, that is.
Lead us off.
I have Matt Forte circled on my sheet of paper.
Forte.
Something
Okay.
tells me that there's a reason.
Even
for
though
that.
I
That's
Go
what I
Bears,
have
think
as
go.
he
well.
catered to us by putting that in there, but I don't know. They
That
threw
was
the
my
ball a lot.
suspicion as well. That
Come
was a
back again, Evan. What
Bears
did you say?
player. I also picked Forte.
Also picked Forte. So unfortunately, this wasn't
Damn
meant
it.
to be a trick question. The correct answer is Christian McCaffrey in 2019. He was extremely over-targeted and had 142 targets. We did put the answer choices in order of what the standings was, 1 through 4. So second
That's naughty.
most since 2000 was Tomlinson, third most was Forte, and fourth was Richie Anderson.
Well,
Classic Richie.
yeah.
Yeah, that
Doesn't
guy.
remember this guy at all.
So when we were doing this, I even said to Josh, I said, this feels like there's always one layup per se. Like every episode that we were like, this is probably what people are going to get. And I really thought this was the layup because, you know, Josh is wearing the guy's jersey right here. Like, he's
I
got
know,
it on his
but
back.
there was a lot of.
It's in
If there
frame.
wasn't a Bears player in there,
Ah, that's
Trevor
well,
Trevor did
Matt
say,
Forte
let's
was
put
there.
a Bears player in
And
there.
Forte-
so it might
he was
fool
third. I literally
Yeah.
said for the
He
fun
caught a
of
lot
like
passes.
Yeah.
hiding the answers, I was like, why not go 1, 2, 3, 4?
A lot
I
of
did that.
mind games on that.
I
A lot of
did-
mind
I
games
did it.
on that question.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I did that last week with the Charlotte Hornets. It was like the highest VORP or value over replacement player for the Hornets, and you would immediately think in a single season, you'd immediately think Kemba Walker all time, and he is by all time. He's like not even close to number one. But in order, he was the C answer, and I was like, they're gonna say Kemba Walker is at C, and he was not correct. So I was like, yeah, why not do it again? Sorry, I apologize.
Trevor's
It was,
out here trying to trick people.
yeah. Again, difficult. Have fun. Whatever.
Yeah,
you
shout
get the
out to
point.
Matt Forte.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
Great
shout out to
Bears.
Matt Forte.
I think I drafted. It was my second year playing fantasy football. I think I drafted him at least once or twice. He was unbelievable.
He was a
He was a
stud.
great pickup for a long time in fantasy football.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Question number 4. We started doing this scoring format. I think Josh, was it last week or was it the week
Last
before?
week we tried
So we
it.
started it last week and it worked. All right.
One
so,
of you will get a point on this question.
no matter what. Yep. So this is the one where when you hold it up for the YouTube audience, make sure it gets focused so you can see it because this one has to be 100% on the screen. You'll see what I mean in just a
All
moment. Closest to the number, Price is Right style without going over gets the point. If you both go over, it's closest to the number, of course. So we talked about earlier the guy with the most points per game in a single season. Well, the guy with the total points in the season is LaDainian Tomlinson. And I think we probably all knew that. If not, there you go. You're welcome. LT is the most points in a fantasy season. It was 2006. Closest to that number without going over gets the point. So what is his total points in that season? Closest to the number without going over gets the point. Price is Right style.
We're talking
last-
PPR.
PPR. Yeah.
PPR, correct.
Okay.
Yep. I think everything we did today was just based off solely. I think PPR was what it fell under. I didn't.
I think the
Clarify.
least fantasy points scored was a non-PPR
That's
formatting. But,
But I think you said earlier it didn't matter because he still was the
no,
worst.
yeah.
Yeah, he
And it
still-
didn't matter for the quarterbacks. So
Yeah, that's fair. Last week we did the total wins for the Charlotte Hornets. Not to distract you, this is us filling time while you're thinking. The Charlotte Hornets total wins, and somebody was less than 100 from the answer, but unfortunately he went over. And I'm just going to address that now for our every week listeners. We first of all thank you and appreciate you. But we also want to clarify the apology, and I did put it on the screen if you watched on YouTube. We blundered and did not combine playoffs and regular season for that Hornets question. So this is my PSA. We did throw it on the screen with the accurate number, and it did not still affect the point for the guy. that
luckily,
got
the Hornets haven't won many postseason games, so it didn't affect the question.
it. But what's crazy, though, is the Tim Duncan one was still right. Tim Duncan has more wins, total wins in his career, playoff and regular season, than the Charlotte Hornets have as a franchise in 33 seasons.
Thanks
Did
for
you
bringing
see that
up.
one stat like it was like Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, Tim Duncan's
Yes.
winning
Yeah.
percentage
I
compared?
saw that.
Unbelievable.
Manu with the
Nuts.
all-time
Unbelievable.
highest
Yeah.
winning percentage.
NBA
for a player.
Twitter gets really weird in the offseason. That was one of the
Yeah.
coolest graphs they put
Love
out.
Manu.
It was so fun. Yeah, he
All right.
inductee this week or next week or something like that. It's coming up
Okay.
soon. So, all right. I think we have an answer. It looks like they don't seem sure about it, but I think we do.
Yeah.
I don't remember who, so I'm gonna go with Evan first. I don't care at this point.
All right.
Get here.
Get it focused. There we go. 496.
496.
Okay.
496.
Dan. 400.
All right.
Yeah.
So, are either of you guys Price is Right fans?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, Dan is the bigger Price is Right fan because he said, "I'll just go as close as I can without going that high." Evan was only 15 away.
Mm-hmm.
And it was
I
unfortunately
was trying to do the math
idiot.
in my head.
it was really good math. Really good
Yeah.
math. The
About
answer is
30 points a game,
400.
probably.
The answer is 481.1.
Oh,
So, in the sake of not how the Price is Right should do it, Dan gets the point. I don't feel good about it, but Dan gets the
Ooh.
point.
That's the second week in a row the person that got the closest went over and did not.
They were like
I feel great about
this
it.
close.
it's a shame.
Dan's like, let's go.
He's like, I'm all right. I'm 80 something away. It's like, no.
Good with me. Good
It's
with
cool.
me.
Yeah, no, great. Honestly, either way, both good answers. You were both in the same digit, and I was hoping you'd both be in at least the 400s by choice. So, great pull there, Josh. Let's get a score update since we're 4 questions in.
After 4 questions, the score is Dan 2, Evan 0.
All right,
We're
Still
gonna
got
I'll
plenty
give you
of
the
time.
next one, Evan. I'll
So
give
we
you the
get
next
yeah.
one.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
kill
plenty
this
of time.
lightning round at the end there.
Yeah. All right.
Oh yeah.
So question 5. This is somewhat a relevant fantasy football question.
Somewhat.
What is the only current NFL franchise that has never had a quarterback throw 30 touchdown passes in a season? What is the only current NFL franchise to never have a quarterback throw 30 or more touchdown passes in a season?
All right. So, for those of you listening on Apple and Spotify and Google and all of the other lovely podcast platforms, this is my first YouTube plug. Dan wrote that immediately.
Wow.
Evan's doing the more strategic answer, and he is thinking, which is, and this is good. This is what you need to be doing. This is a show designed to be. This is a show designed to be stripping you of your thought process. So this is good. He's taking the
More
approach
than
and thinking
30
hard about it.
touchdown passes.
Never in a single
There's
season.
one NFL franchise never
Has
had
never
a
done it.
quarterback throw 30 or more touchdown passes in a season. Only one.
All
Ever.
right.
Ever,
Yeah.
literally ever.
Oh,
I got it.
I go back
All
on
right.
my answer there. Hold
I was
on.
talking it out for those of you listening only. If you're listening only, please subscribe on those platforms and come over to YouTube and watch this. Thank you. That was literally the only reason I brought that up, just to make sure
All right,
people
Dan,
had
what do you got?
YouTube.
Yeah, I'll keep it. Whatever.
He's
I
out.
have the Cleveland Browns.
Cleveland.
All right.
Evan.
I have
Matt Forte.
Houston Texans. Matt
Texans.
Forte. Houston Texans.
All right.
I
Josh?
think I gave Trevor both those answers. So those were excellent answers, but they are not correct. And you guys want to take any other guesses as to why we would have asked this question?
Bears.
I was gonna say
the
Bears,
Bears?
but I thought
Correct
that was
answer is the Chicago Bears.
Oh, my God.
Oh man.
I thought that's
We
what Dan
don't
wrote
want to
down, by the way.
believe it though. We don't want to
Yeah.
believe it.
So
I thought
the
it was
Chicago Bears
Smoking
record
J-
sits at 29.
Smoking
is the
Jay never
most.
threw 30. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Who on the Browns threw more?
I'm looking it up right now. Don't worry. I was on the same
It's
train
gonna
of
be
thought.
like somebody in like the 1950s.
Has Baker thrown 30 in a season?
Man, 30 is not a lot. That's terrible that the Bears never hit
Jim
that.
Brown. Wait, no, that's running backs.
The running back.
Wait.
Running back is throwing touchdowns?
Sorry. That was my bad. Literally the first quarterback that popped up for their single season leaders. Based on
Someone
yardage,
we've
Brian
never heard
Sipp.
of.
Brian Sipp or Sipp in 1980. He leads their franchise in passing yards in a season as well as touchdowns in a season with 30 exactly. So they should be an answer.
Him and Richard Anderson are getting a lot of airtime. or Whatever that guy's name
and
was.
Brian Sip, I guess.
Sip.
Good for them.
Hey,
though.
you don't gotta sell us too much on this. We believe you. The Bears never had a quarterback, so totally.
Trevor, didn't you say it was the unfortunate thing was there was a player who like
I have
a
it right
long
here.
time ago for
Yeah.
the Bears. He threw 29, but it was a season like they only played 10 games in a season. At the
So
time.
it's right below the answer on our doc. It's Eric Kramer had 29 in 1995, and Sid Luckman, who apparently a lot of Bears fans know who that is.
Yeah, he's like the all-time quarterback.
Sid Luckman had 28 through 10 games in 1943. So good for
Ooh.
Sid Luckman because he should have just
Stud.
he was air raiding before air raid was a thing. I guess I don't know. Good for him. So
I think Kramer holds the record for the Bears too for like single season passing yards too. Those are And that was like, I don't know,
I believe
30
you.
years ago. So
I've already clicked off
terrible.
a Football Reference. I believe you. I'm not a Bears fan. I'm just going to trust the two Bears fans that said that.
Why don't you throw that trivia question in there? What have you
Yeah, right.
Don't worry, guys. Justin Fields is going to throw 30 this year.
Yep, there you
Yeah.
go. Also, I feel like Bears trivia would have been too easy, and I feel like fantasy football is too relevant not to do. So, sorry,
Yeah.
here we are.
I love the
All
fantasy
right,
football trivia.
here we go. Question number 6. We're flying through this. This one, don't worry, will take a little bit longer. This one's a little bit of a longer form answer.
There's a chance for 3 points here.
Yep.
Okay,
So-
here we go.
And I don't feel like it's okay. You'll see.
Just
All right.
read the question.
Out of the list of top 15 most career fantasy points, 3 of them in the top 15 are not quarterbacks. So pretty good pickings there. 12 quarterbacks in that top 15. You have to name those players, and you get a point for each you name. I'll read the question one more time. Out of the list of top 15 most career total fantasy points, 3 of them are not quarterbacks. Name those players. You get a point for each that you name. Shout out to StatMuse for the career fantasy point list, because that is where we got that from.
We have a year this date backs to.
That is a good question. We have,
Richie Anderson. You believe it or not?
yeah, Josh. I think we looked it up. I think it was 1960. No,
Well, the first year of fantasy football recorded in history was in 1962, so we'll just say 1962.
There you go.
Playing fantasy in 1962.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah, so we'll say it goes all the way back there. For anyone that's playing along at home and trying to figure out who was first all time in fantasy points, it's kind of a gimme. It's Tom Brady. Another category he leads in.
He surprisingly he's only 400 ahead of the guy behind him.
Only
What? That's one season. That's only one season ahead of the guy.
one season of like.
I guess the guy behind
one
him
of the
played 3
best
less seasons.
players.
That's true. The guy behind him played 3 less seasons, so I guess that's fair. Yeah, 5,888.7 for Mr. Tom Brady. Ironically enough, for those of you watching on YouTube, I am not wearing his jersey. It was one of the choices I had, but I wore Gronk. I wore the greatest tight end of all time. So, anyway, that's beside the
Dang,
point.
just throwing strays at Tony G there.
I am.
All right. I think I got my.
Deservingly so.
So we have to name. There's 3. Only
You should
3
have-
that were
You
named.
should have 3
correct?
answers, correct. Yeah, you should have 3 answers that you feel really good about.
What do you got, Dan?
Have less than 3 based on that answer.
I'm not happy with it.
Okay.
No,
I
I
have
got
4
4.
too.
I got 4.
Okay, you got to pick 3.
Yeah, you got to pick 3, so
Yeah.
cut
All right.
somebody out. Also,
Okay.
make it visible, because I'm curious who you'll cut out in case you get it wrong. I'm curious if you cut the right
man.
answer. Evan,
All right,
if you
while
have
we're
your
rating
answers, while he-
Evan-
yeah, go ahead. Thanks.
Yeah, Evan,
No.
go for it.
I'm not giving you any answers here.
You can't write them down. We're locked
Yeah,
in.
cross one off and let's do
We're
this.
locked in. All right.
Yeah, all right.
Cross it
Yeah.
Okay.
Good camaraderie. All right,
Hands up.
there we
All
go.
right. Here's what I got: Jerry Rice,
LT,
LaDainian Tomlinson, and Marshall Faulk.
Okay.
And I had a 4th actually. I crossed out Le'Veon Bell, but he didn't play long enough.
Whoa, Le'Veon Bell. That's man. Talk about a guy
Le'Veon
that literally.
Bell, that's a
Yeah. Talk about a guy that could literally win you your league any year you drafted him when he was good. That's a good. Honestly, that's a
Yeah,
great
I just think he didn't play long enough,
probably not.
but we'll see.
Yeah.
I also had Marshall Falk, LT, Randy Moss, and I crossed out Frank Gore because he
Oh,
just
that's a
played
fun
for
one,
like
too.
40 years.
Yeah.
Josh, while I'm reading this question, can you please look up how many total fantasy points Frank Gore has? Because I would love to know where he finishes. Because he's got to be right outside this top 15. Well, we know he's not outside the top 15 because we can see the full 25. But pull that up for me. I'm curious. You'll have it quick, fast enough. All right. So you will both be getting at least.
No, they won't.
Oh, nope. Just kidding.
Nothing.
Oh, nope. No. Evan will be getting a point, and Dan will not
Jerry.
be getting a point. So
Gotta be Jerry.
Evan will be getting it. Yeah, correct. Jerry Rice is the
Rice.
highest on this list. So really quick, just for fun, I'm actually going to read them, and as we get to them, I'll let you know the answer. So really quick, top to bottom, we mentioned Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers is 5th, Ben Roethlisberger, Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan. Slotting in at the number 9 spot is Mr. Jerry Rice, 303 games played, 3,613 fantasy points, 23,000 yards. I don't have to keep going. He has ridiculous stats. 10th on this list, kind of confusing. Eli Manning. Anyway, Matt Stafford is 11. Number 12, nobody got it, but Emmitt Smith, another long tenured guy, basically the Jerry Rice of running backs, played a long time, etc. Yada yada yada. Emmitt Smith is number 12. This is where it gets a little fun. Number 13 is Russell Wilson. Shocked me, to say the least. 13. He's top 15 in fantasy points in a career. I don't feel like he's been playing for that long. He's been playing for 10 plus years, but wow. Russell Wilson. The next guy on this list with a 10 games less played than Russell Wilson is Cam Newton. Cam Newton is on this list, cracking the top 15. And the inspiration and the whole reason we did this question that none of you got, and it's okay, because Marshall Falk is a great answer, LT is a great answer, and whoever the heck else, Randy Moss that you threw out there, all are probably better answers. I'll just be real with you. Number 15 is Adam Vinatieri with 365 games played and 2,932 fantasy points in his career, just ahead of Vinny Testaverde. So, yeah. So longevity does win these sometimes. He played a full year in total. He played a year's worth of games in his career, 365. Vinny Testaverde played.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I didn't notice that until just now, so I just read that off the fly. 130 games less played right behind him as Vinny Testaverde. So I think that's just a true testament to the fact that his points only counted for 3 and 4 and 5. That's insane that he is on this list. So correct is not Vinny, Adam Vinatieri, Vinny, I guess. Yeah, he is going to be your 15th spot, which is, again, why we did this question. So,
Evan gets one point?
Correct.
Evan gets
he only got one. That's right.
Okay.
So clawing back a little bit here.
I'm still in the lead. Got it.
The number with Frank Gore is 2,540 all-time
So he would slot.
Say
that one more time.
2,540.3.
So I don't have the guy behind the 25th guy on this list with T.O., but I assume Frank Gore is either 26th, 27th, or 28th because Frank Gore, T.O. has 2556. So he would be right there behind T.O. And if Frank Gore did officially retire, yes, I think we all remember that.
He's fighting
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay, see, I forgot.
Yeah,
All right,
Not successfully fighting people.
Yeah, so he officially retired. So he unfortunately will not crack this list, or at least, unless a bunch of these guys just fall out for some reason, which won't happen. So, man, unfortunately, that is not. That's kind of sad. I kind of wanted him to be on that list. So, all right, Josh.
So after 6 questions, we are sitting at Dan 2, Evan 1. Evan going ahead and getting on the board in that question.
There we go.
And let's move on to question 7. So, as I mentioned earlier in the podcast, or I guess on the last question, in 1962, fantasy football was founded. It was founded by a man named Bill Winkenbach, who founded the first fantasy football league while in New York on a business trip with his friends. What NFL franchise was Bill Winkenbach a part owner of at the time that he invented fantasy football? Was it A, the Green Bay Packers, B, the Chicago Bears, C, the Oakland Raiders, or D, the Pittsburgh Steelers? I'll give them again. A, the Green Bay Packers, B, the Chicago Bears, C, the Oakland Raiders, or D, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Matthew Berry invented fantasy football.
I don't enjoy how much you're putting Chicago in these answers to just mess with us.
I know.
Yes, he figured it out. Wow,
not my favorite.
Yeah, you never know.
Right down
Pittsburgh steel industry, Winkenbach.
Don't worry, there have been some crazier logic people have tried to come up with. If you want to have a great laugh, some of these shows we've done have been really, really good, and some of these people just have the thought process behind some of these. Just to get him a few, we've had somebody name why the Bobcats name is what it is for the Charlotte Bobcats. They named
it's the owner, right? After the owner,
it is the Bobcats is, but why is the mascot named Rufus? And the guy answered with the naked mole rat from Kim Possible because it was a show at the time. We've had that. We've also had our buddy Caleb, President Celtics fan. He said he couldn't think of who the original Celtics were before the Boston Celtics, what arena they played in. So he said the Lucky Charm Center. So I had to proceed to make an hour's worth of a graphic of the Lucky Charm Center and put it on the screen. We've had some unbelievable answers. I think there's a couple more I'm forgetting, Josh, but those are my favorite two for sure. Honestly, any of the things that the guys from Jimmer Range said, those were just all the.
When in doubt, just say Kentucky. But
yeah, that was good too.
All right, I'm gonna get my answer here. I think Winkenbach was up in Green Bay, just bored out of his mind because there's nothing to do up there. He's a Packers guy.
Meat pack. I don't know.
All right, so Evan's going Green Bay Packers. Dan?
Yep.
I'm going the Raiders because this guy was going like a bi-coastal business trip, going from the West Coast to the East Coast.
Reading the newspapers.
So,
what?
Reading the papers. The Raiders is my answer.
Okay.
This was also
So-
my logic.
In 1962, Bill Winkenbach and his friends formed a league that they named the GOPPPL, which stands for the Greater Oakland Professional Pigskin Prognosticators League.
Oh, what?
It's the original
Yeah,
fantasy
you
football
say that
league.
one more
He was
time
a
for those that
part
might have
owner
missed it.
of the Oakland Raiders. Greater Oakland Professional Pigskin Prognosticators League.
Now say
Rolls off the
that
tongue.
without looking
Yeah.
at it.
It's the GOPPL.
Yeah. Still, the flop is still cooler, I have to say. But yeah.
Better. Rolls off the tongue better.
Dan, I'm glad you went down. Now, your logic was completely not anywhere close to my logic, but I'll just be real with you. It was good.
It
But
was
my logic
cross-country
was-
business trip. He got
It
it right.
was.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
My logic was, would it not be the most Raiders thing ever for that to just be clouded with their history? Like, because the Raiders and stuff, I just was like, why not the Raiders? And I got it right. So, yeah, anyway. Or I didn't get it right, but I got
Doesn't
to that
matter
eventually.
how we get there, as long as we get there.
Yeah, this is true. All right. Well, that was really good. So we didn't, I guess the finale counts as a question. So we'll do this now. We'll do the halfway point update. That has become my favorite segment in all these trivia showdowns. So 3 words. How are you feeling, Evan?
Could be better. Those are my 3
He
words.
did it.
Yes, this is Josh. We got to do this segment every week from the rest of the time.
Could be better.
All right. Could be better. Dan, I'm framing that. Dan.
I feel dumb.
Oh,
Okay, you're
Dan, you're winning.
I was going to say, aren't you in the lead?
I'm in the lead, but I'm not at the top of
Yeah.
Okay.
all the others.
You've gotten 3 out of 7 questions correct, Dan.
Not good enough.
To be
Okay.
fair, you can't climb Mount Everest in a day, and you can't climb this leaderboard in an episode, apparently, according to Carl Heiser. Because he's 19. It's just stupid. Sorry, Carl.
Wild.
So to be fair as to how Carl did this, he got a lot of our questions right. I think he got like 8 out of 10. But he then somehow guessed what the finale question would be and had happened to research it extensively prior to coming on our podcast.
So he kind of lucked into it, but he kind of didn't. He also got, 13 out of 15? Was that right?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
got
something like that.
there were 15 possible answers on the finale, and he got almost all of them.
I'd
So-
launch an investigation. There's something going on. there.
I've thought about it. That it just doesn't seem right, but
Yeah, that's a little too much.
seemed
Yeah.
a little sketchy.
All right. Well, technically halfway through this show, or a little bit over halfway, so we're going to go on to question number 8. I find this question very fascinating. I really enjoyed it when I was looking it up. Of players 6'6" or taller all time, who has the most total PPR points? Of players 6'6" or taller, who has the most total PPR points all time? No multiple choice. I don't know if Josh said this, but he already read the second one, so there is no more multiple choice the entirety of the show. Just free answer and your finale, which will be, if we didn't say it, 60 seconds, and you have as many answers as you can get down in 60 seconds. So for those of you,
6 or taller.
yep. So for those listening again, not watching, of players 6'6" or taller, who has the most total PPR points all time? Now that we know, since 1962. I didn't want to say that year earlier before that question because I couldn't remember if it was relevant to the answer. So 1962, we now officially know is the first year that fantasy football was officially invented. So, and again, it's sad to say, but no, it was not Matthew Berry. Shout out to Matthew Berry for leaving ESPN and going to NBC Sports. Quite a big change for him.
Shout out.
I got 3
Well, I mean, good for-
answers written down.
It's a crazy move. Like, that's insane for him. And his newsletter has been like, it's the coolest newsletter in sports. Like, if you haven't subscribed to it, it's really, even if it's not helpful for you whatsoever, because he's not perfect.
It's not.
He's not 100%.
He says
It's
that
just
he's
cool.
like 50% correct, is what he.
Yeah, he's honest. Like, it's
Yeah.
it's just he just has been so respected, even though he's not 100% correct in the industry.
It's
just
fun
such an odd
though. It's
thing.
just he's a fun writer.
Personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great dude. His love-hate list, I think, is what he calls it, or something.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's like my favorite read of the year or something when it comes out. Sure, he'll be able to do that. So.
Yeah, his preseason predictions aren't very good, but I feel like his love-hate lists are pretty good, like week to week.
They are. They're very good. Based
those
on
are-
because he gets really good info from stuff that we just
Yeah.
otherwise wouldn't get. So
All right,
All
Dan,
right.
what do you got?
You can only give the one answer. I know you've got 3.
I
Now, like you said,
understand.
but-
I get it.
he said, "Got the format. Here we go."
How many 7-foot football players do you know, dude?
Yeah, over
7 foot.
6'6".
6'6"
Oh my
or
gosh.
taller.
I'm actually
I just
clarifying
had to
this
change-
guy's height. So go ahead. I'm going to look it up really fast.
I
while
just
you're
had a
doing your
change of
answer.
heart. I had Rob Gronkowski, but I changed it to Calvin Johnson because I think
Okay.
Gronk might not
Megatron.
be 6'6".
I don't think Calvin Johnson was 6'6". I think he was 6'5". So I'm gonna say
I'm gonna look that up as also.
So I'm
So
gonna
go ahead.
Seriously,
Evan.
off the top of your head, 6'5"?
I'm gonna say Rob Gronkowski is my answer because he's got the
All right.
jersey on.
So really quick to answer the question, Calvin Johnson is 6'5".
Ah.
So unfortunately,
Surprised you
he
didn't
does
know
not
that?
count. Yeah.
Do I get a point for that?
Nope. We are really stingy with bonus points. Sorry, you've only.
See, I didn't
stingy.
think Gronk was 6'6". Is Gronk 6'6"?
I think he's close too. I don't know.
I don't know. Let's look it up. We're in the middle of this. Why not?
Either way, we're
My other answer was Julius Thomas, but I feel like he didn't play long enough. He was super tall.
Gronk is 6'6". So
okay.
Gronk is eligible
dang
for
it.
this question.
So my other answer was Tony Gonzalez. Those were my three.
Josh, if the deficit wasn't as close as it is between the two
Or
of them,
Jimmy-
I would
Jimmy
I would
Graham.
offer Evan a bonus point. The problem is, I would do it for the sake of the leaderboard trying to pass Grayson right now because I think that's what territory we're entering. We do still have the finale, but
Tony
all right.
Gonzalez was also 6'5".
All right, so you ruled out a lot of guys there. So the correct answer is Jason Witten.
Ooh.
2,970.3 fantasy points. Now,
He's
that's not the
6'6"
number.
with cleats on. There's no
He's
way
he's 6'6" Google height, so we're going to go with that. To be clear,
Played
not-
like 18 seasons.
Exactly. The number on this did not surprise me. It was the fact that he began his career in 2003. I just lost track of that. It just left my brain at some point. He did
He played a
not.
long
There's
time.
no way. Dallas and obviously Las Vegas Raiders tight end. I'm pulling up the screenshot I have of the question just to go over any other potential hilarious answer choices that you already named. Oh, that's right. I'm glad I did this, Josh. We talked about this. Your top five: Jason Witten, Joe Flacco.
Okay.
This is nuts. Rob is third, even though not that long career. Jimmy Graham, Harold Carmichael, Matt Schaub, Kyle Rudolph, and at that point it just completely tailspins. So, no offense to any guy on the list after that, but either way, So good guesses there. Tight ends, former basketball players. It all just they were great guesses. Honestly, they were.
Yeah.
Also,
Not
we
good
all
enough.
learned something. Calvin Johnson's apparently 6'5". That just seems wrong.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what makes
surprising.
sense with the
that.
nickname
Yeah.
of Megatron.
Josh was like, I think Josh said that answer to me, and I was like,
Yeah, no,
he's
Megatron
6'7".
was my answer.
I even said he's 6'7" when I looked it up the other day. I said
He was
he's 6'7".
enormous on the field. By
Yeah.
far
He
the
was
biggest guy on
I think
the
he
field.
was wide shoulder and 250 or something. So that might be
He might have I feel like his wingspan was probably ridiculous. Something like
Oh, it
that.
was. He
This
had- there
made
was a-
Johnson different.
Shout out to the old ESPN Sports Sciences that they no longer do, but they that guy was unbelievable at his job. But he did
They
those
still do sports sciences.
They really do. Okay,
Yeah.
I need to watch them. That's cool. But they did the Calvin Johnson episode where it was how far can he reach with his toe on the ground and go all the way up and how the science works behind it. He's number one in every category for that. So yeah, he's cool. He's an unbelievable
was a
player.
beast.
Yeah.
He was, yeah.
All right. No score update, Josh, because nobody scored any points. Let's go
3-1.
into question. Okay, thank you.
Question. Bring it up. We know.
Question number. I was trying to be nice, Josh. Question number 9. Whenever you're ready.
All right. So, question 9. The wording of this question might be a little confusing, so I'll repeat it a couple times. Ask for clarification if you need. What active NFL wide receiver has the highest percentage of his career games with 100 yards or more to have scored no touchdowns? So, what out of active NFL wide receivers in his career games played that he's had 100 receiving yards or more, who has the highest percentage of those games with 0 touchdowns?
I wrote something down right away. Are you writing something down right away? I think we're writing down the same answer.
It seems to
It's
have worked for
highest
you a little bit,
percentage.
so this is good.
And not total games. We're going to go highest percentage of his
Highest
games.
percentage.
Yeah.
We're
I
not
think
on a
that-
time crunch here. Think about it. Just take your time.
Can you
No, I know
can
wrote
you
it
say
down.
it one more time? Say it one more time.
So, what active NFL wide receiver has the highest percentage of his career 100 plus receiving yard games be with no touchdowns?
Go ahead, Dan.
I think we
All
both
right.
have the same answer. You want to say it at the count of 3?
That's
Sure.
all right.
1,
1,
3.
2, 3. Julio Jones.
Jones.
All right.
Yeah.
Josh, you want to go not number 1 down?
So, we'll hit you with the top 4.
There you go.
Fourth on the list current actively is DJ Moore of the Carolina Panthers, with 14.3% of his career 100-yard games coming with no touchdowns. Third is Deebo Samuel of the San Francisco 49ers at 15.8. Second is Julio Jones
Oh,
20.7%, and he has the most total. He has 145 career 100-yard games with of his 145 career games, 20%. Sorry, I think I've messed the stat up. The answer's still the same. Of his 100-yard games,
Jarvis Landry.
20%. Yeah. The correct answer is a player who's actually only been in the NFL for 2 seasons. Justin Jefferson of the Minnesota Vikings. 21.2% of his 100-yard games have come with no touchdowns because Kirk Cousins can't get it to him in the end zone.
Oh,
Or they
wow,
running
okay.
it with Alexander Madison. And yes, the answer you worded it slightly off, but it's still the same verbiage of the fact that it's career total games. How many times did they not have a touchdown with a 100-yard game? So either way, it doesn't change the total number.
Right,
Julio
right.
Jones just had 145 tries at it and he didn't get it.
Yeah, he was known for that, not scoring
Yeah,
for a long time.
Second, guys, like,
that's his
come
MO.
on. He's
That's
the
his
only
MO.
guy, by the way, over 100 in the top 15. Let's just be real here. Like, he's all time. People are going to remember him in our era, but my goodness.
Trevor, I think you wrote down
Yeah.
career games played because
It was career
Justin
games.
Jefferson, career games played, not career 100-yard games.
Oh, yeah. No, I put career. Well, I mean, yeah, I did write career games, but either way. I wanted
That's
to know
why
their
I
total
thought I was
career.
messing up on the stat. But
No, you're good. Percentage of that career, which is what
Yeah.
we were trying to aim for. So there you go. All right. Justin Jefferson again. Shocked us all, I will say. All right. Question number 10, and so that we have ample time for the finale because you'll have
plenty of
60
time
seconds.
left, guys. Plenty of time.
Plenty of
left.
time. No big deal. Here we
We're
go.
doing
Question
fine.
number 10. Since the year 2000, what player has the most targets in a single season? No multiple choice. Since 2000, what player has the most targets in a single season? Some really good names on this list, I will say. Very, very close in terms of the number that they ended up having, and also some very good names on this list, I will say. That is just not a hint. That's just an observation that's very obvious. You'll hear it very shortly. Thinking. This is good. Thinking.
Most
Get all the-
receptions and most receptions, correct?
Targets in a
Most-
single season.
but targets.
Targets.
Yep. Sorry. Targets. Josh, I find it fascinating because they're. I never thought of it this way, but they're getting the thinking out now with question 10 because with 60 seconds, you don't think, you just write. So this is good. Get all the thinking out now because when you have a minute to write as many answers down, you're going to really enjoy yourself.
You got an answer, Dan?
I do.
Good job. No, you do. Okay. All right.
Do you have one?
I do. Yeah, I'm gonna go real basic here with Cooper Kupp last year. I think he's got to be up there.
Cooper.
Okay. All right.
I am. Yeah, that's not what I have down, but I have a very similar style of a player. I have Wes Welker. Back when he was just a target.
Shout out. I like
machine.
that. I don't know if he did that for a potential bonus point, but thank you.
Michael Thomas has got to be up there too. He had a huge year.
Yeah.
All right. That's a
Michael
good.
Thomas is up there.
I just appreciate the Wes Welker, Butterfingers himself. Okay, so the correct answer, unfortunately, is not either of those. We'll go from 4 to 1 again.
Thought so.
They're figuring this out quickly that this was not
Sorry,
going to be
guys.
easy. By the 10th question, thanks. Fourth
Richie
all-time.
Anderson, believe
Yeah, right. It's 2000. That's right. He's eligible.
The answer is
he played in the
Richie
slot.
No,
once in a
it's funny
while.
because he is eligible. That is funny.
Jets.
I forgot
Back
about
in
the 2000
2002.
part. Yeah,
It's gonna be like is McCaffrey up there.
yeah, maybe. Fourth is Reggie Wayne and with 195 for the 2012 Colts. Third is going to be the man we previously mentioned, Julio Jones, 203 for the 2015 Falcons. Second, a guy also previously mentioned, one ahead of him with 204 is the 2012 Lions, Calvin Johnson. And number one, the guy one spot ahead of Calvin Johnson. So 1 point separating third, second, and first is going to be another Indianapolis Colt. For no bonus points, can you try to guess who it is?
Marvin Harrison.
Colt. Marvin Harrison, it is. Correct. 2002 Marvin Harrison with 205 targets. For what it's worth, Cooper Kupp last year, and I think this just assures to me that might have been the greatest season we've ever seen for wide receiver in our life. He had 186 targets. For perspective, he would be outside of the top 10 on this list.
Yeah, that's
so
How many catches did he have?
more than that.
That'd be
No, I'm
like
just kidding, he did.
145.
Yeah. So he catch
Pretty
rate.
efficient.
Here it is. I forgot
He was
to say
definitely
it.
number one in catches all time.
Yeah, he
I
was
think, for that.
78% of his catch rate. Like, that's literally what I didn't even see it.
He's
until I
just
looked at it.
didn't need that many targets because he's
Yeah.
just unbelievable.
And it's not like their
Completely
wide
wide
receiver
open.
room was that deep. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't like. I mean, he was good, man. 78% of his catches. That's crazy.
He was just wide
Crazy.
open every single play.
Yeah.
I don't know how they did that.
Man. All right. Really, really good showing from the standard round here. 2 multiple choice
Yikes.
and 8 free answer. No, I'm fair credit. This was really. I told you earlier. I'm not trying to I'm not jinxing myself for a 5th time. Like I can say it every week, and I'm okay with that. I think this is the hardest question or whatever. I think
Yeah,
this
you were
was
not kidding.
I think this was a hard.
I think this
quiz.
was a hard quiz.
I think it was. I
Yeah.
think it was. It's okay. You have a lot of answers, and you have 60 seconds to do them. So, without
All right.
further ado, Josh is going to give a score update, and he's going to just start talking. He'll go at the format. You hold up your pen. We'll go through the whole thing, and then as soon as he starts a timer or says to start it, we'll roll. I have the timer ready, Josh, whenever you are. After you're done.
Okay.
Let's roll.
So if you guys both hold your pens up and get ready to write here in a second once I get done with the question. So there are going to be 15 possible answers here. You have an opportunity for a point for everyone you get right. There's no penalty for writing a wrong answer down. So just write down as many things as you can in 60 seconds. So the question is all about NFL rookies in fantasy football. In NFL history, I have in front of me the top 15 highest points per game amongst NFL rookies in a season for fantasy points. The highest fantasy points per game amongst NFL rookies in NFL history. Name as many of those best 15 NFL fantasy rookie seasons as you can in 60 seconds. Trevor, you ready?
Begin.
All right, Trevor and I will talk to fill time. You guys focus on writing down as many questions, as many answers as you can, and you can kind of give us your thoughts once you get those all written down. I think Trevor and I had a lot of fun with this question because a lot of times you go into your fantasy football selections. If you're doing like a redraft league every year, going with a rookie is a pretty risky bet a lot of the times.
I'll give you a 30-second update and a 10-second update as well. You are at 30 seconds remaining. Correct. Yeah, no, I try in my history to avoid rookies unless
if I'm redrafting, I'm not going down the rookie route. Now, if you were someone last year like
Najee Harris was a good one. He was
Jamar Chase, just a really good route to go down. So we've had some good rookies over time. It's just really hard to find someone who's going to be consistent and get that much
10 seconds
play. And of course, if you're going in a dynasty league, you look at this year, a guy like Breece Hall is going to go pretty quick.
Pencils down. I feel like a teacher when I say that every week, but pencils down.
Pencil down, Evan. I saw you writing.
I would like to. He probably finished the letter he was on. I don't know.
Yeah,
whatever.
I just had the first letter of the last name. You guys would have known.
I got
who it
his
was.
first name down for my last choice.
Yeah,
I have
if
a
you
first
got
name
down like
does that
like
count?
if you put like Jimmy, I don't know that many. Like if you put Jimmy G, like Graham or something, I would
Lawson.
done.
I
Yeah,
think
that
last
kind of
week we did Hornets coaches, and we had one answer was Silas, not Steven. And I took that as a correct answer.
Yeah.
So
So we will be a little liberal here and just kind of if it's close enough. So really quick, I'd like to do this because I thought this was interesting last week. How many before we start this? How many do each of you have? I'm just curious.
written down.
Total.
I have 8.
Well,
Wow.
Okay. So
Okay, yeah.
I had 3 in a minute when we did this. So let's just 5 more than me, Evan.
what? Yeah,
How
I
many
got
did
12.
you have? Okay. All right, Josh. Here we go. Let's roll. We've got to get through these.
So the way we'll go through this,
Whoa.
we'll do a
None of
little
them
bit
are
of the honor
right.
system here. We'll
Yeah, they're all
bounce back
probably
between the two of you guys. So I'll start with Evan. You'll give me an answer.
What?
We'll reveal whether that's correct, and we'll check with Dan whether he wrote that down as well. And then we'll bounce over to Dan and kind of go back and forth. So Evan, go ahead and give me first name off your list.
My first one I got is Cam Newton.
So Cam Newton is correct. Cam Newton had the greatest fantasy rookie season in NFL history. He's number one on the list. He averaged 24.15 points per game in his rookie year, which was his second best. No, it was his best fantasy season in his NFL career because of all those rushing touchdowns that he had that year.
Oh yeah.
Cam was the first time I almost won a fantasy league. I picked him up in one of my leagues and got second place.
I did not put down Cam Newton.
No Cam Newton for Dan. So Evan will tally a point. That puts us at 3-2.
Let's go.
Dan, bounce over. Give me your first name.
You mentioned him, Jamar Chase.
So unfortunately, Jamar Chase did not qualify on this list. I'm not sure what his number exactly was. He's not here on the top 25 that I can see. I think it might have been points per game. I think Jamar Chase may have really picked things up in the back half of his rookie season, but did not qualify. for this list.
I had him in a league, and he had like 1 week or 2 weeks in a row where he had like 4 and like 8, and then had like those crazy stretches. And unfortunately, I think that probably is what got him to not be on that list. I do remember him not having a couple of games where I was like, "This sucks." Like, what happened here, man? You're having this unbelievable season. I think it was at the beginning of the year too.
Guys, I'm not feeling good about this list at all.
Okay. All right. Keep rolling, Evan.
I also had Jamar Chase, but obviously that was wrong. So I'll give you another one here. RG3.
So Evan's just like going down the list. Robert Griffin III is second all time amongst NFL rookies, 21.5 points per game. Had an incredible 2012 rookie season with Washington, and then kind of just fell off when the read option was no longer a viable offense. But
immediately.
Dan, did you have RG3 on your list?
I did not.
Okay. So now it is suspenseful. We are tied 3-3.
Okay.
Going back over to Dan, but with a lot of answers left. So,
man, I'll just go down the list. Doesn't matter. Joe Burrow was one I put there.
So unfortunately, Joe Shiesty not on the list. So kind of a spoiler alert. The only 2 quarterbacks amongst the top 15 were Cam Newton and Robert Griffin III.
I think I wrote down. Let's go.
A lot of it came down to the quarterbacks that were running it into the end zone in their early seasons, because a lot of these guys, I think Joe Burrow, no exception, taking a lot of sacks, throwing a lot of interceptions, just not keeping those numbers
also,
up.
Was his injury like week 10
it's
or 11
points
his rookie
per game,
year?
but I mean, it's like I think he showed flashes, but he wasn't blowing anybody away on the fantasy points that first time around.
And was that correct? His injury was rookie year, was it not? I get his years mixed up. Wow. Okay.
Well, this past season was the second one. So
that's great. Yeah, I see. I think, man, I can't believe he's only been in the league 2 years. All right, keep rolling. I am ready for the next one.
Evan.
All right. I did not write Joe Burrow down because obviously that one's wrong. So
don't worry, I got 2 more quarterbacks.
I got Alvin Kamara.
I also said Alvin Kamara. To be fair, and I think Josh is confirming whether that's right or not. But I remember saying
did have AP and Mark Ingram, I think, in front of him that year.
So slotting in at 12th on the list is Alvin Kamara. His rookie season with the New Orleans Saints. Yes, that counts as a point. 14.96 fantasy points per game for Alvin Kamara in his rookie season. It's a point to Evan. Dan, did you have Alvin Kamara?
No, of course not.
Okay. Stay hopeful, Dan. We still got. It's Evan's got numbers 1, 2, and 12.
Yeah, he's killing it.
All right, you got one, Dan?
My next one is Randy Moss.
Randy Moss, unfortunately, is not.
Laughing. Come on, man.
It's warranted.
I'm sorry.
Totally
I think these are like the second most return guests we've had. Let's be nice.
I wrote that one down too. That was
okay. All right.
End there. Yeah.
All right. Okay. I don't feel so bad about it then.
All right. So my next one is going to be David Johnson.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Oh, that's a good pull, but David Johnson is incorrect. David Johnson not cracking the top 15.
What?
Dang. Man.
I have my next one then would be LaDainian Tomlinson.
LT, surprisingly, no, not cracking the list there in his rookie year.
Oh, we're down bad. I
think the further that you go back in history, you tend to get a lot of guys where they thought, let's not play rookies a ton or give them.
That's good because I got a lot of people that played years back on my list.
Now it's like the little opposite.
Luckman.
Hey, 1962. Remember, we now know that. That was a little hint for you.
If this one's wrong, I don't know. Ezekiel Elliott has that list, right?
Number 3 on the list is Ezekiel Elliott, Dallas Cowboys. 19.56 points per game through 15 games played in his rookie season.
Josh, are you
definitely
up?
Have that one, don't you, Dan?
Are you keeping up with this score? My head's spinning.
No.
Dan, you had him on your roster that year when you won.
I don't have Zeke. Sorry, I think I was in and out there, but I do have Emmitt Smith on my list.
He's like, I don't have that Cowboy, but I have another one.
He's on it, right?
Unfortunately, Emmitt Smith is not
correct.
Unfortunately,
on the list.
Oh boy,
I didn't get one right. I did not get one right.
The score is 5. Are you really out of names, or are you still?
Well, I had 2 more. I have 3 more left, and 2 of them are quarterbacks.
Relax.
All right, Dan, just go ahead and give me your last one.
My last
get
one
any?
would be Ricky Williams.
Ooh,
That's also unfortunately not correct.
That's a good pull, though. Evan's having
Sure,
a
Andrew
field
Luck
day.
and
You went-
Russell Wilson
you went
are on
over?
there.
Over in the lightning round. Brutal.
Oh, I don't want to be here anymore.
All right,
Next
so
week's
I'm gonna
episode
run.
of the Domestic Draft Podcast is Evan
Yeah.
Bierman and Evan Bierman.
Okay.
Want me to run
I'm
down the
just
rest
kidding.
of mine?
Yeah,
here?
Evan, go.
Just go for the
Uh,
kill shot at this point.
I got
It's
Najee
okay.
Harris.
Najee Harris not clocking in the top 15. He is at number 24.
Yeah, in my
so
head,
what about-
he had a good last year, but I don't think historically. Like, I know people liked him last year because it was just bad team, good running back, but it's a good one.
Yeah. What
It's a good one.
about Christian McCaffrey?
Boy, I hope.
Also not there in the top
Oh.
25. McCaffrey's not
Okay.
there.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Not a lot.
And,
He wasn't used that much this rookie season.
That's true.
Justin Jefferson.
Again, boy, I
That's
hope.
in there.
Also no.
Really?
Another good
Huh?
guess.
You
Justin
told me these
Jefferson,
and I don't
no.
remember.
Yeah, Trevor, I don't know why you're still surprised. Like you knew all the answers.
I remember verbatim
Ahead of
telling you,
time.
this feels like a hard question, and then Evan proceeds to go, I've got 12. Like, okay. Like, really?
Yeah. So then the last two I have are Michael Thomas and Julio Jones.
Okay.
They also are not, unfortunately, on the
Yeah.
list.
You know who is though? Probably is Barkley. Saquon. Got to be on the list, huh?
Yeah,
I think
Saquon Barkley's
Quads.
number 4.
Saquon's,
all-time
yep.
last rookie season.
Almost
But you
had
didn't
it.
have Saquon written down.
I didn't have him on the
Okay.
list, so I only got 4 in the
Just a
lightning
good
round
shout.
there. But I think that's enough to pass Dan, right?
Yeah, so the final
Is that enough
score
to
here,
pass
it's
Grayson?
gonna be Evan Bierman 5 and Dan Slovic 3.
I'm the
Let's
worst.
go through the top 15. So, like I said, Evan got the first 4 guys. It looks well. He mentioned Saquon after, but Cam, RG3, Ezekiel Elliott, Saquon Barkley. 5th was Odell Beckham Jr. With actually his best fantasy season ever, his rookie season.
Technically.
Every year after
Really?
that's been lower. Yeah, he would average 17 fantasy points per game, 204 total his rookie year.
Yep.
Through only 12 games with the New York Giants.
The next year he would average, I looked it up and it blew my mind. The next year he averaged 100 more yards and 1 more touchdown, but he had like some stupid long run and a couple other things that added to it. So he actually, his best fantasy season was his rookie season, even though statistically his sophomore season was his better season. Blew my mind. Just a
Really?
trivia fact for you. I couldn't
Well, it's
believe it.
because he didn't play the full 16 his rookie year. He was on a
Oh, there you
track
go.
for higher average. But
That's what it was. There you go.
6th is Adrian Peterson, 2007 with the Minnesota Vikings. I think that was the year he had the 296-yard game.
And
Would have
earlier,
loved to have had him on my team that year.
right, and Evan earlier said something about Kamara, and he's like, I think Ingram and AP were ahead of him, and I was like, oh, I hope you wrote AP down. I'm like hiding by my mic. I'm like, uh-oh.
Now it's where some of these get a little weird. Number 7, Doug Martin of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2012.
Oh, yeah.
Muscle hamster.
Cool nickname.
Number
for sure.
8,
Yeah.
Julius Jones of the Dallas Cowboys in 2004 would average 16.1 fantasy points per game.
It's okay if you don't know who that is.
Number 9, Kareem Hunt of the Kansas City Chiefs in 2017. Number 10, Matt Forte of the Chicago Bears in 2008.
Ooh.
Guys, he was
Wow.
there.
Victory lap, roses for Matt Forte.
Number 11, Alfred Morris with the, at the time, Washington Redskins in
Mhm.
2012. Number 12, like you said, Alvin Kamara in 2017 with the Saints. Number 13 is Leonard Fournette in 2017 with Jacksonville Jaguars. Number 14 is Maurice Jones-Drew, 2006 with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I
And
was a
number
big fantasy
15,
guy for a while there. Yeah.
and
MJD.
number 15 is the guy who's currently his average draft position, I think, this year in fantasy football is 1, Jonathan Taylor, the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
The 15th best rookie
I'm
season.
gonna have to check that. I'm not really sure if those
So
are right
not
or
Emmett Smith.
Not Emmitt Smith.
Things we learned today. Not Emmitt
According to StatMuse, those are the answers.
Smith. Shout out Sabbies though, for real. Great NBA stuff. We've never used it for the NFL because, shocker, we don't talk about the NFL. But they have some really great stuff for any other basketball content you might need. So, man,
That was-
what a
that was
list!
tough. That was tough.
This is semi apology, semi. Well, it's not supposed to be easy. So
No, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. Had a lot of fun.
that was one of the 3 things I wanted. So thank you. I'm glad you had fun. Cause,
It was super
oh
fun.
boy. All right. So really quick, the flop, like we said, is tomorrow. obviously we are in it, so obviously don't say anything about your draft strategy, but anything.
I mean, if you want to tell us what your draft strategy is.
Oh, by the way, do we have the order? Like, do we know? Like, I don't think have you done the order yet?
I've had a couple people ask for that too, but I kind of like waiting until that last 30 minutes before the.
Yeah, when you know it,
30
and no one
minutes
else finds out.
because you don't. Yeah. No, I don't know it. I don't know it.
Shoot from the hip. Yeah.
All right, Josh, that's good. So then, never mind. My question.
It's going to be like last year, Trevor, where
Yeah.
we found out it's like, wait, we got the second pick. That's great, and then we're like, wait, that means that our second round pick is number 27 overall.
Yeah. So you got to come up with your draft on the fly, and I mean,
Yeah.
between the two of us, we do it together, and I'm sure you guys do the same.
We do.
So
Yeah.
you can bounce ideas off each other. That's the fun part about it. Most
Yeah,
of these
in a minute and a
teams
half. Thanks.
Yeah.
It's
3,
the
4
most
people.
arguing I do with Trevor all year.
Honestly, though, it's crazy. It's
having
not.
to talk him down from picking Jerry Jeudy in round 4 for him to still be on the board in round 7. I mean,
Breakout year,
and then only play
Pre-injury.
7 games.
Okay,
the whole season.
Yeah.
Barring injury, he was supposed to have a really good year. My bad. Okay. No, it was
Man,
funny
Broncos
because
receivers, kids,
the
don't
first
take
3
Broncos
picks.
receivers.
Yeah, right. First 3 picks, we were like, we're good. We got this. We're not arguing for nothing. Kamara was the right pick, yada, yada, yada. And then after that, it was like, yeah, this is going to go south very quickly. So here we go. You guys finished really high, too, so you get it. I was going to ask, my question was going to be anything we need to know about tomorrow that won't give your draft strategy away. Well, your answer just solidified everything I needed to know. We won't know the draft order until 30 minutes prior. So thank you.
Yeah.
Honestly, I
mean,
think
in
that
a
might be
14
payback from today.
14-team league, you got to get a running back. Both Dan and I, that was what we talked about last time. It's like you got to get one quick, and
Did you
they
have
just
Zeke last
go
year?
really fast. So
What'd you have last year? Was it Zeke? I don't remember.
yeah,
it was
we had Zeke,
Well,
who was a little bit of a disappointment, but we had a couple other guys too. So I
It
think
can
we
be
went pretty
lost
running back
in
heavy.
the draft, and you didn't lose from the draft from Zeke. So then, I mean, that's a great first round pick for last year. I mean, the way that league turned out. So
we're looking for a championship this year. Stamp it.
Yeah,
Put it out there.
all right.
yeah, we
Well,
finished like 3rd, I think. So we're coming back for the title.
We're just here to have fun.
we were. we are. We're still having fun, but we were in 3rd for a really
As
long
long
time.
as we make the playoffs again and we're the basketball podcast and we
Yeah.
beat the fantasy football podcast at fantasy football, I'm really solid, to be honest.
Did any?
Yeah, there's at least 6 fantasy football podcasts, I think.
I was
in
gonna
the
say, did
league
any
this
make
year.
the playoffs last year? I remember at least one, maybe. I don't. Maybe. But
Yeah,
I think the Schmucks
Yeah,
might have made it.
yeah.
Who won the title last year?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Oh, the
Butthole
Schmucks are the ones
podcast.
that I argue
Yeah.
with on Twitter all the time.
About that. Yeah. Who won last year? Do you remember?
Bud Hole podcast. Yeah,
Yeah,
with arguably the
of course, right?
the
Of course.
coolest name. Yeah,
Out to the Butthole podcast.
yeah, shout out to the Butthole. I think he's based out of Minnesota. He's Vikings fan. So
Well,
Yeah, he
sorry
won.
for the cousin slander to Butthole.
No, I'm not sorry for it. All right. So, without further ado, let's get closed up here, guys. Promo really quick. Just, again, Twitter, @things like that. It'll all be in the description below of all the podcast platforms as well as YouTube. So, knock that out. And then, Josh, as always, close us out.
This has been the 2-point conversion
Well,
podcast.
They got to go first. Hold
Oh,
on.
wait.
It has been the 2-point conversion podcast. Before we get to that ending, if you want to go ahead and follow Domestic Draft, go ahead and just search us up. We're all over social, anywhere you find podcast @Domestic Draft. On YouTube, just search up Domestic Draft Podcast. You'll find us there as well. Evan, what am I missing? We got our website, www.domesticdraft.com.
Yep. Website, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. We're on Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks so much for having us here, guys. It's been a lot of fun.
Some of the best Instagram episode announcement graphics of all of our podcast friends. So, thank you. Love
Shout
whoever
out
does
to
your...
our boy Matt
Yeah,
Stachula
shout out.
does all of our art. Yeah.
Oh, that is who it is. Okay,
Great.
he followed us on Twitter like 8 years ago, and I don't. I was like, cool, thanks, follow you back.
Yeah,
Thanks.
hit him
Our
up.
graphics guy.
Hit him up.
He's the
Graphic
best in the
design.
business.
Well, thank you. All right, Josh, now you can close us out.
This has been the Extra Point... No, sorry. The 2-point conversion podcast. I'm Josh.
I'm sorry.
These are the guys from the Domestic Draft, and we will see you soon.